Okay. Unfortunately, we have a lot to get through.
Yeah, let's dive in.
I'm
of the deep end. Sorry. I'm a little manic today, guys.
Just bottle that energy.
Yeah,
Save it for when we need a dose of humor in this relentless hellscape. Okay. Oh, this is Everybody Hates Rant.
By the way,
it's a Wheel of Time podcast. I'm Emily Jushaw.
And I'm Sally Goodger.
And I don't know any other way to do this than recapping. As I said before, we're kind of bouncing around a lot. Yeah, so,
do it.
Do it. Sorry, recapping in order. I don't know how else to do it. So, we start with a Tuon point of view as, thumbs down, as Matt and co. reunite with the Band of the Red Hand, the contingent that Talmany's led into Altara to meet up with Matt, and which now has the big problem of they're basically stuck in Altara, surrounded by Shanshan camps. It's Tuon's, I think, first point of view?
I think so.
And it's serving two functions, one of which is fine and one of which is bad.
Yeah.
The fine one is what's called defamiliarization. It's, when you present something that we, the readers, are very familiar with. Often this is seen in, sci-fi novels.
Sure.
Like, talking about a lamp or whatever. An alien talking about a lamp would describe it in a really weird way.
Sure.
So, now we have Tuon describing Matt to us through a cultural lens, and through her own personal opinions that puts Matt in a different light. We're so close to Matt that stepping back and seeing how other people see him, even if the other people at hand is the worst person you know, is sort of, interesting.
Yeah.
Tuon has some, funny lines about Matt and sort of what she thinks of him. The fact, she says, Matt seemed very much in his element in the palace in Altara, but he also seemed in his element at the circus, and now he's also in his element. Yeah. So, just sort of, he confuses her, and then she sort of has this understanding by the end of the chapter that, Matt's actually viscerally terrifying as an intellectual leader of battles. The less fine thing is that what we're doing here is, I had this thought so neatly laid out earlier, and now I've forgotten it. But what Robert Jordan has been doing this entire time with the Tuon and Matt relationship is having Matt come closer to understanding and compromising with Tuon's values, regardless of whether they are actually good or bad.
Sure. And
we're seeing the reverse happening here with Tuon. Mostly she's a, just staunch asshole throughout this entire point of view. She's a jerk, she's classist, she says she does the usual woman routine in Robert Jordan land of woman says something and then immediately does the opposite in her own head.
Yeah. She also refers to Matt entirely by toy.
Yeah, which is super gross.
And I would also like to take up a personal beef with whoever is writing the Wheel of Time wiki, because the summary for this chapter does not call Matt by name.
Oh, gross.
Calls him toy, as if it's through Tuon's point of view, so my guns are loaded.
Anyway, what we're supposed to be doing is seeing, Matt has been realizing slowly, has been getting to know Tuon, and has been coming to terms with the fact that, wow, she's really intelligent and remarkably intelligent. That's the only good quality of Tuon's I can think of.
Sure.
I don't know, she's smart. He's starting to think she's hot. Or I guess he does think she's hot now. Just this sort of slow burn romance. And what we're supposed to be seeing is that that's two-sided. Tuon is having, and coming to terms with the realization that Matt is not just this sort of bumbling idiot that she thought he was, but is also incredibly good at knife fighting, and also a general of a very big and efficient army.
Yeah.
And the problem with that is that Robert Jordan is positing that coming to terms with those two things are equal.
Yeah.
That the heir apparent to an imperialist country is the same thing as the general of a guerrilla army.
Yeah, and it also, a big point with Tuon, which you've already alluded to, which is, I don't understand why we keep having to do with this, with women being Matt is such a bumbling country bumpkin. He has nothing to offer, blah, 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 blah. And then every woman, apparently, in the universe has to go through realization that Makathon is very competent, he's very intelligent, he's very good at what he does, and he's just, like, gonna get in there and get shit done.
Yeah.
So, like, a big part of it for Tuon is being like, oh, Matt is competent and intelligent, like you said, and he's competent enough that he's in his element wherever he is because he's resourceful enough to, like, make wherever he is his element. So, like, Tuon's view of Matt, like, her first step in the door to being like, this is a person I'm attracted to, is basically her recognizing that he is an efficient weapon that she could use.
Yeah, it's gross.
So it's not even, like, Matt being like, oh, I'm starting to value her as a person.
Yeah.
Tuon is like, oh, I'm valuing him as a tool, first and foremost.
Yeah, like, we get alluded to the fact that Tuon is somewhat resigned to this relationship due to factors that have not been fully revealed to us yet. Spoiler alert, she got, like, a prophecy, and she's so hung up on prophecies that she's just like, yeah, I have to do that. Mm-hmm. You know, similar to what Matt is doing with the prophecy from the Aelfin or whatever. But, so, like, yeah, what we're seeing is a reframing of Tuon being like, oh, he's just this guy that maybe I could make out with, and it wouldn't be awful, to, like, so, like, this sort of just sexually available guy I can experiment with on some level, because I have to, because it's prophesied, to, oh, I could integrate him into my army, and it's, like, gross.
Yeah, so, yeah, it's just, like, disgusting. Like,
in neither viewpoint are you seeing him as a full person.
Yes, exactly. Like, that was going to be my next point. Like, Tuon is very big in the defamiliarization element, but also, like, the defamiliarization of her point of view is also, like, the extreme dehumanization of literally everyone around her, because Tuon thinks that she's better than everybody, both by bloodline, by culture, and by, like, her intelligence. She's got a massive superiority complex, and it's gross for her to just be like, I don't view my partner as a person.
Yeah,
and will she ever?
No. Not by the end of the series, I sure don't think.
Disgusting. Also, so sorry that Ed is purring so
really
loud.
Aggressively.
Like, right, I'm gonna put my hands here as a sound barrier.
Ed, don't do that. The funniest part of this is that we get to overhear Matt and Talmanes talking, which is just charming because Matt's, like, yelling at Talmanes about various band things. Yeah. And Talmanes is like, but wait, you haven't heard about our new crossbow cranks. And Matt's like, crossbow cranks?
No way!
And they fucking nerd out about it for, like, a minute.
Fucking losers.
And Talmanes, like, cites a book that Matt quoted once, and Matt's like, meh? I don't even remember. He wrote the book, is the joke. Yeah. And he doesn't fucking remember having ever referenced it. Tom tells Tuon that Matt is Ta'Viren, so all of this coincidental stuff, like, makes total sense. Tuon is like, obviously that's bullshit, and nothing makes sense. Oh, an owl hooted. Someone's going to fuck. Or die, or whatever the fuck.
It's pretty funny. Like, it was a genuinely comedic moment where she's like, that doesn't sound real. Yeah, and then she sees a bird and is like,
she's like that dog in Up that hears a squeaky door. Quick, I have to analyze the omens.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
Pretty hilarious.
They get back to the band of the Red Hand. Everyone greets Matt, like, ecstatically. Yeah. They're like, he's home! Yeah. Our homeboy hero is back! Yeah. We love him! Tuon's like, what the fuck? And Matt's just like, yeah, these are my 1,000 boyfriends. Matt asks to see maps of the surrounding area, and basically they all end up in this tent where, the band's own map maker that Talmanes picked up.
He's like,
Talmanes has done an extraordinary job in being in charge of the band, by the way. He has, like, made some good executive decisions.
Yes.
And I hope Matt rewards him later, sexually or otherwise.
Yeah.
But this guy, Master Roydell, has a bunch of maps of Altara, and they have already sort of figured out where, like, the nearest camps of Shanshan are. And Matt just charmingly, like, squats down on the ground and is like, looking it all over and starting to plan. Tuon talks to Talmanes and a few of the other band leaders and is like, is Matt Lord? You all call him Lord Matt. And Talmanes is like, no, he fucking hates lords. Yeah. But we all love him in our hearts so much that we call him Lord.
Yeah.
And Tuon's like, what's the point of this? This is obviously an impossible situation. You can't sneak all these people out of Altara past the Shanshin. And they're like, well, he probably is then planning for us to go to battle or execute an otherwise large-scale offensive. Which to a point Tuon realizes, oh, Matt could actually do that, and it would be scary.
Fuck yeah!
We then swap over to Perrin, as he and a squad of people are dumping the forkroot tea into the aqueduct system that leads to Malden. It's a very, good, interesting scene. I'm very interested in this mechanic for Malden.
Me too.
Sort of going in from the inside. Weaponizing forkroot, although, it speaks troublingly of the future.
Yeah.
It's similar to Matt's sort of cannonball innovations and even this fancy crossbow thing. Warfare is getting more and more dangerous. Warfare is always dangerous. Warfare is getting more and more efficient.
Yeah.
But Perrin is there with some of the Shanshin and with a whole bunch of people, all of whom are apparently going down through the aqueducts, which is, covered. They take the covers off at the top to pour the forkroot in, but after that it's just, a tunnel straight into the city. Which it would have been really funny if Perrin just had managed to infiltrate Malden, get his entire army.
Yeah, it's we're all just going through the
aqueducts, but obviously there's a terminus. And it's a cistern, which would not fit the entire army, so they're just sending in a small squad. The goal of which is to find Fael and the other captives and kind of corral them back into the cistern while the actual assault is happening on Malden. So that is the plan. We get some other tidbits. Perrin is in contact with some local wolves who are ready to drop and fight at any moment. They're so excited.
Yeah, I don't really know why.
Kind of whatever.
Perrin's so annoying. I'd be like, no.
Yeah, shut the fuck up.
Deal with your own problems, bastard.
Gaul goes in for dumb reasons that he wants to capture Bane and Chiad before anyone else does. Again, that romance, if one wants to call it that, is difficult and, is just impenetrable. Mishima, who's the second in command to the Shanshin, after Ty Lee, who's our sort of point woman, is there supervising, and at one point he sort of has a Tuon moment of realizing, oh, Perrin's actually scary and competent or whatever, and it's like, Ty Lee was right about you, and Perrin's like, what'd Ty Lee say about me? And Mishima's like, oh, you'd have to ask her, and then Perrin sees Ty Lee later in the chapter and doesn't ask her, and it fucking bothers me. Why bring it up?
Yeah. Well, Perrin is the least plot-conscious character you'll ever see.
He's just bumbling.
And you gotta respect that about him on some level, where he's just I am not in a story. Versus Matt and Rand, who are I am in a story.
Rand is 100% I am in a story. Yeah. All the time, 24/7. He's gotta follow the prophecies.
Yeah.
Matt is I have the sneaking suspicion that I'm actually in a story and can manipulate that to my will.
Yeah.
Perrin's I'm just a dude going through life with my axe or my hammer. No symbolism there.
No.
Going after my wife. Again, nothing is a metaphor. It's all just real. He's so stupid. Perrin goes to travel back to the camp via Grady, who is so exhausted.
I know, dead on his feet.
He's basically laying there. Perrin at one point is yeah, we have to use the aqueducts because Grady and Niall just won't be able to open gateways. We have to limit them. And I'm you couldn't have used them a little more efficiently so that you'd be able to just get into the city on the day of?
Fucking idiot.
So wild.
Yeah, but Grady's just laying on the ground. Perrin comes up and kicks him in the stomach and is
get the fuck up, you dipshit.
Open another fucking gateway, you lazy piece of shit.
I hate you. No rights.
Yeah.
No payment.
None.
I'm the worst manager in the world. And Grady's please, sir.
Please. I need my allotted 15 minutes.
Yeah, Grady's like, I'm on break. I am off the fucking clock. Can I have one cigarette?
It's like, nor.
We do have a very telling paragraph here that pretty neatly sums up everyone's sort of opinion at this point about the Shanshan, and I think the point that Robert Jordan is trying to force. Grady's like, the Demon creep me out because they're so brainwashed, they don't even want to be freed. I don't like that. And Perrin says, whatever happens with the Demon, Grady, it won't be this week or next, and it won't be us who fixes it. So you let them be. We have a job of work in front of us that needs doing. You understand? So Perrin is saying the bad thing in front of them is not the priority, and it's not their job.
Yeah.
This is so wild, and I'm so sorry to bring this up, but X-Men. In the, what's the movie? Logan? That movie, which overall I didn't like, but it had a great line that I legitimately think about all the time. And I can't even really remember the context. I think they're on a road and they pass someone's car who's broken down, and Professor X wants to stop, and Logan says, like, someone will come along. And Professor X says someone has come along, meaning them.
Yeah.
Which is the correct attitude in any moral quandary or when it comes to helping people, even if it's the more difficult attitude. And Perrin is taking the easy way out, saying it's not our job to fix the entirety of Shanshan society or the Demon or anything like that. We can't take a stand against this.
Yeah.
And it's like, Perrin, if everyone thinks that, and everyone clearly does, then it's never going to be fixed.
Yeah.
So, pony up, dude.
Been saying that a lot.
I know. I think I've said it twice in the last 2 days. I just think it's a nice phrase.
It is a nice phrase.
I like to think about ponies. Where are they going up to?
Where are they going?
In an elevator.
Where are the ponies going?
Perrin also says, like, in his own head, we've got to deal with the Dark One. And then he's like, anyway, it's grown hard to think of Ty Lee being on the Dark One's side. So again, this idea of, like, once you meet them, the Shanshan aren't that bad.
And it's like, not for you, Perrin.
Yeah.
Someone with...
You're fine.
Incredible privilege in your world's political, socioeconomic, cultural standing.
Yeah, you're one of the 3 most powerful men in the narrative. Yeah. Even if you don't recognize that you are part of the narrative.
Even if you refuse to believe it. So yeah, no, that is a really good call out in that paragraph. Because, yeah, everyone was just like, well...
Yeah.
Shrug.
Shrug. Not our problem.
Long pause. I was trying to think of anything to say, but they're just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll deal with it whenever.
Perrin returns to the camp via Gateway. Ed, could you get your tail off?
Just one thing. Arm? One quick thing. I just want to, like, parallel this with that great scene in Fellowship of the Ring when Frodo is when everyone's like, who the fuck would do this horrible thing? And Frodo says, I will. It's so emotional. I don't know why. But he's just like, I'll do it.
Yeah, someone has to do it.
Someone has to do it.
Someone has to stand up and say, I'll do it.
And it's going to be me, Frodo Baggins.
And the Wheel of Time is like, what if no one did? What if no one said, I'll take the ring to Mordor. I'll do the hard thing.
Yeah.
What if everyone was just like, well, we can't fucking do anything about it, so...
Guess I'll die.
I mean, that's 100% of rich people in the world right now, so
that is very true. We do not have enough.
I mean, I personally have a moral ground to stand on, but Jeff Bezos does not.
No.
Perrin returns to his camp and his tent, where Barrelane is meeting with Ty Lee, who's sort of shown up unexpectedly to give them some news. The funniest part of this scene is that all of their, like, servants, who are, like, Linny and Brienne, are treating everyone like absolute shit. And Perrin, in one small redeeming way, is embodying the, a waiter or waitress could slap me intentionally and I would still tip them 20%.
Yeah.
Like, Tylee's like, you let Linny or whoever just spit on you? Yeah. And Perrin's like, yeah, we don't enslave them, so get fucked.
Yeah.
So that's pretty charming.
Yeah.
Tylee's big news is that a large force of white cloaks has been spotted nearby. And the Shanshan are under orders to track down this particular force. This is when we get the whole Galad desertion breakdown via you know, through Perrin's point of view, although we've had it earlier in this book for other people. It's kind of funny to see Balwer's reaction, who's basically like, I want to kiss Galad on the mouth.
Yeah.
For killing Volta. And it's like, yeah, Balwer, me too.
Same. That was really hot of him.
Yeah. Way to go. So Tylee, like, reports this, and Perrin's like, okay, well, we're not gonna do anything about it, and you're not gonna do anything about it, because obviously you have a vested interest here. And she's like, yeah. And then no further arguments are made.
So there's just 7,000 white cloaks on the periphery.
Yeah, so just, like, keep that on the back burner.
Yeah. Because they'll be coming around the mountain.
Galahad will be coming round the mountain. Her other news is that a force of...
I'm sorry.
Guess who else is having a manic moment?
The cats are being as disruptive as possible.
Sillies. Just another manic Monday. Except it's Wednesday.
I also have the storm sillies, I guess.
Don't fucking come in here and...
Okay. Everyone hush. Emily was speaking.
Tylee's other news is that a couple forces of Ale are also on the move towards them, which, we don't know what Ale? Which Ale? Whose side are they on? We don't know and won't until the next Perrin point of view, maybe. Then we switch over to Fael, who is talking about kissing games with Roland, so...
Yay.
Okay.
I think it's pretty funny that the Ale have, like, kissing games instead of just, like, making out whenever they want to.
Oh, yeah, I'm like, is it supposed to be, like, spin the bottle and stuff?
Oh, could be.
Like, stuff like that. I mean, we have... That's the only kissing game I can think of.
Yeah, maybe it's like that. I would just guess I'd never classify those as, like... I don't know what I'm thinking. You also got 7 minutes in heaven or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Who knows? Galena comes up looking absolutely batshit insane and is like, where's the rat? And Fael's like, I have it, but you have to promise that you're going to take us out of the city. And Galena's like, yeah, sure, whatever. I will say whatever arrangement of words you want me to say to get the fucking oath rod. Fael's like, well, she's Aes Sedai, so she can't lie. Therefore, yes, I will meet you at a random abandoned building tomorrow with all my people to pass off the oath rod, and you can take us out of here. Which I'm sure will end great.
It sure does.
So again, this is like dramatic irony, Robert Jordan playing with what characters do and do not know. Obviously, Fael does not know that Galena is Black Aja, although frankly there have been hints prior to this. Not that Fael has to pick up on every single one of them. She's not like a genius. She's a pretty normal person, but like, I don't know. Everyone in this fucking series is always like, don't trust Aes Sedai. So it's like, why would you trust Aes Sedai?
Yeah. In this instance in particular.
Yeah, especially one as clearly unhinged as Galena.
Yeah, someone who's unwell and obviously scheming.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like, just everything she says sounds like a scheme.
Yeah, like she's the villain in a Disney movie.
Yeah. She's very Disney villain coded.
Yeah, like the advisor who's always like speaking in a double entendre. Like everybody knows except the king.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's Galena.
It's like if... Sorry to keep making Lord of the Rings references, but it's like if they walked into Theoden's palace and fucking Wormtongue was there whispering in Theoden's ear, and Gandalf was like, that's fine, seems normal.
Totally normal.
That dude has some serious anemia, but no big deal.
No, it's great that you've brought on a new advisor in your old age.
Theoden, I love that you are delegating tasks.
Yeah, I'm really proud of your boundary setting.
Decision making.
Such as ruling your
decisions.
Kingdom. Yeah. Breathing.
Okay. Now we switch over to Rand, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, this is a big one.
Yeah, as Rand and Co. go to the meeting with the, quote, Daughter of the Nine Moons, unquote.
Yeah, speaking of a big ol' instance of dramatic irony.
I think the phrase, this is a trap, is used like 19.
Yeah, everyone is like literally, Rand gets to bring like 10 people with him.
And every single one of them is like, this is clearly fucked up.
This is obviously a trap.
And Rand's like, whatever, I'm stupid. Rand and his accompanying people, which is like Nynaeve, Cadsuan, Logain, Narishma, another random Ashaman, and Min, all ride down to this random, like, farmhouse in the middle of nowhere, which is, like, again, irony. We, the readers, know that Tuon, for, like, a state visit, would never go anywhere unescorted by, like, literally 900 people and guards.
Yeah.
So the idea that she would be there with 6 sets of Soldam and Daman is ludicrous.
Yeah, also in an abandoned farmhouse.
Yeah, of all things.
Yeah.
Via, like, Cadswan and Nynaeve's various terangrial, they pick up on the fact that Semirhage, who walks out looking like Tuon, or what we know Tuon vaguely looks like, they're able to, like, disrupt the weave she's using to look like someone else, and Semirhage appears. Rand calls the alarm, and then Semirhage is, like, able to get off one shot before everything goes bad for her. It's difficult to believe. I know Rand is stupid in this instance, like the whole this is a trap thing, but it's also incredibly difficult to believe how stupid Semirhage is, thinking this little plan will work.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
How was this going to happen?
It's so fresh. Like, again, not to, like, beat a dead horse. I really thought my goal for this week was to come in and try and have, like, new things to say.
We don't.
But, like, this constant back and forth of being, like, the Forsaken are very intelligent, and then having them just make, like, the most unintelligent decisions you've ever seen in your life is just, like, exhausting at this point, especially for Semirhage, who has up to this point been presented as one of our most fucked up Forsaken, but also one of our most intelligent, who's, like, constantly playing the long game.
Yeah, like, Rand gives us, via Luce, threw in a few, like, creepy stories about Semirhage. One time she was in prison, but she freaked out her jailers so bad that they helped her escape.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah. Semirhage is, like, renowned as this utter creep. And, like, we, the readers, are like, hey, Semirhage has been playing the long game here. She does seem pretty competent getting in with the Shanshin. We know from the beginning of this book that she literally dismantled the entire Shanshin Empire with a single massacre.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, now you're expecting me to believe that she would walk into a situation with 6 channelers versus 6 channelers and be like, this is a fight I can win because why? I have the element of mild surprise. She doesn't even, like, the sort of game changer in this is the male Adam, which she's revealed to have been carrying. And it's not like she's got that tucked under her arm. It's, like, hidden in the farmhouse.
It's, like, in the house.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Run and grab that? After what?
Yeah, and it's also, like, you thought a disguise was good, like, a disguise with the one power was gonna work against the most powerful channeler in, like, human history?
Yeah,
and just, it's like, what is this plan?
Like, they're all on high alert.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense unless you assume that Semirhage is seriously underestimating both Rand and everyone Rand knows and trusts.
Sure.
Which is, okay, a level of arrogance that I sort of buy from the Forsaken, but at this point, Semirhage is one of the, like, 6 Forsaken left standing. After a certain point, you'd be like, maybe someone should learn that at the very least, the odds are stacked in Rand's favor by the pattern itself. Like, the world wants him to win.
Sure, and also, like, yeah, I mean, you're going up against, like, literal fate. That always goes really well for anyone who attempts it. And also, up to this point, Semirhage, like you said, all the Forsaken have a big ego. But Semirhage, up to this point, has been one of the ones more in control of that. Like, more willing to be like, I can play an advisor for a long time, and it doesn't get to me because I don't care, versus Samael, who's like, I will be king of Ilion.
Immediately. Can't handle it if I'm not for a single second.
Yeah. So it's just like, again, this weird sort of nerfing of our bad guys in order for Rand to win in this moment, which on one hand I think is fine. Like, I don't want to go through, like, success for Semirhage in this situation would look like collaring Rand. I don't want to go through another situation where the Dragon Reborn is in prison. Like, I have had enough of that for me. I've had enough of that for Rand. Like, we don't need to continually re-traumatizing the character in this way. So I'm, like, not totally against the way that this plays out. I also just don't know why it happens this way. And I guess it doesn't really matter at this point, but it's silly.
Yeah, Robert Jordan is frantically trying to tie up some plot points, and he's doing it in the clumsiest ways possible.
Yeah, we've only got 3 books left, baby. We just gotta start knocking Forsaken off.
Yeah. Rand loses his hand in this attack, something that has been highly foreshadowed by the series itself, but which, in the moment, doesn't really make a lot of logistical sense. It seems like he got hit by a fireball, which would set you on fire, not necessarily blow your hand off.
Yeah, it's confusing because everyone walks up holding the power except for Rand because he's worried that Luce the Wren is going to take control of it and start doing war crimes again. Reasonable. So, like, by the time Semirhage is, firing off missiles or whatever, he can't get Luce the Wren to give up control to him. Like, he needs more time to power up than usual. So, like, I'm confused about the choreography, too, because he, like, throws himself in front of Min and, like, holds up his little scepter, and all this does is burn him up to the hand.
Yeah, this is an important point that I'll want to talk about in a little bit more detail. He is already standing in front of Min. He cannot move because she is behind him, and then the fire would hit her, and there's some symbolism there.
I did not know that.
But yeah, the point is he kind of throws up his hand to shield himself, holding the dragon scepter, and yeah, again, it's like, would the fire not then still hit
you? Like, fire doesn't...
Is it a fire, or is it something else? Some sort of weird lava thing.
Some sort of, like, solid fire that you can deflect like you're in a Mario game?
It makes no sense.
I don't understand what's
But again, Robert Jordan is clearly just like, oh, I keep talking about Rand losing a hand and blah, blah, blah. Rand keeps saying shit like, I'd rather lose a hand than do this, so I gotta make him lose a hand, and I can't do anything. I can't do a normal thing about that. I'll have Semirhage throw a fireball at him. I don't know. Here are the 2 points I want to make about this. One is that, as I said, Rand is standing in front of Min after telling her several times and worrying about it frequently that she will be unprotected. So he keeps saying, like, oh, just keep behind me. And she finally is like, yeah, sure. So the very fact that Rand is over trying to protect Min is what causes him to lose a hand, because he can't just move out of the way because Min's there. So it seems to be Robert Jordan pointing to the irony of Rand's obsession with protecting women, especially the women who are close to him. But it sort of falls flat,
Sure, and I think it falls flat because there's another reading, which is that, like, Min shouldn't have come. Like, she's being bossy and silly and taking needless risks in the name of female empowerment. Like, there's no reason for Min to be at this big political negotiation. She just insists that she always has to be there.
Yeah.
And so there's the other reading of being like, yeah, I think it's silly to not be like, why don't you try and both of you duck away from the fireball? Min does have agency to also duck away from a fireball. But there is this sort of underlying sense that, like, Rand was correct and Min is just idiot. A foolish woman.
Yeah. The other point is that Rand, while they're all standing there, Semirhage is like, makes the big reveal that Rand is going insane because of the voice he hears in his head. This is not a peer-reviewed study. This is just the evilest person trying to say this person's going insane.
Everyone
as though she might not have any motives for doing that.
Whatever, yeah.
Yeah. Rand has this moment where he's like, oh my gosh, Min's gonna freak out and it's gonna be emotionally devastating to me, and he's like hyper-focused on the bond with her through which he just feels her love all the time. And he's like, she doesn't even waver. She's just like, oh my gosh, this unrelenting stream of compassion and understanding and love. Which makes me so mad, because it's like, Min doesn't even have the privacy to, like, have her own little freakouts over her relationship or this person. Min could be, like, having a total panic attack right here, and it wouldn't mean she loves Rand any less. It would just be like, shit, something terrible is happening to this person I care about.
Yeah.
But it's like, she is doing the incredible emotional labor of having to police her own feelings. Just her feelings, not even how she's showing them.
Yeah.
for Rand's benefit. And Robert Jordan just seems to think that's, like, sure, normal. Women do that and should do that. So...
Yeah, it's so annoying and just, like, goes back to the ridiculous underlying symbolism of this scene in general, is that, like, none of the women in Rand's life have agency because he won't let them.
Mm-hmm.
He insists on controlling their physical safety. He insists on controlling their emotional state. I mean, they bonded him. I will say that. I will note that Min, Elaine, and Avienda were the initiators in that bond. So, like, they played a role. I'll admit that they had agency there. But, like, Rand's inability to accept that, like, your emotions are not who you are. I have emotions all the time. All day long I have emotions.
What's that? It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia quote where the guy's like, I think I had a feeling for the first time since, like, the 4th grade. Can you believe that? And the other guy's like, I have feelings all the time. What are you talking about?
What are you doing? Like, I have feelings all the time, and they're not necessarily indicative. I mean, everyone does, not just me. They're not necessarily indicative.
You're the only person
who has feelings. It's just me. Apparently that's how Rand thinks. They're not necessarily indicative of, like, what you actually think or what you actually feel. Like, people have knee-jerk emotional responses to things all the time, and it is actually very healthy to be in this situation, see your partner get his hand burned off.
And then have him be like, whatever.
And then have him be like, yeah, whatever. And then also learn that, apparently from a very trusted source, that your partner...
The most trusted source, one might say.
WebMD over here is like, your symptoms might indicate insanity. Like, all that is, like, so upsetting. And even disregarding your, like, the way you might feel normally, like, everyone's trauma response is kicking in right now. You can see this very much in Rand, who is having a very flat affect freeze response. Just totally whatever. But, like, it doesn't mean that Min doesn't love you. It means that she's allowed to process her own fucking feelings.
Yeah. Anyway, Min does manage to throw a knife that actually hits Semirhage, so if you're keeping count of knives that Min has actually managed to, A, get out of her sleeves, and B, hit a target with, I think we're up to, like, 2. It would have been sweet if she just, like, hit Semirhage in the face and Semirhage died. That would have been iconic.
Yeah.
I can't, like, understate how much that would have redeemed the entire series for me.
If Min
just slightly
killed Semirhage.
Everyone's got this big channeling thing, and Min's just like, parry this, you fucking casual.
Yeah.
Knife to the head.
Knife to the head. It's like if Narishma got to kill Halima.
Yeah.
Robert Jordan's just like, only Rand can kill Forsaken, apparently.
It's like, no, let the normal people do it. Whatever. Anyway, we switch over to Matt, who is supervising the first offensive that he is launching against the Shanshin. Because he's with some other people who wanted to explain to them, tells them that the goal of this very guerrilla campaign, which is sort of slash and burn techniques, disrupt, then fade away, no, like, major battles. If they can avoid it, just cause as much damage as possible and then get out. He says the point of this is to get the Shanshin to send reinforcements to as far away from that mountain pass as he can get them to, basically in order to, like, free up that route so that they can get out of Voltara. Which is, as far as I know, a sound strategy, and Matt, being who he is, endowed with a great degree of luck, is almost certain to accomplish it, which is not to understate his own military skill. He clearly has a lot of interesting things going for him. And basically this little scene, like, the actual logistics are that a different force, like, attacks the little Shanshin camp, or gets someone to send I actually couldn't keep track of it. Basically, Matt sets up his own army with all of their crossbows, or a bunch of crossbow guys, to, like, ambush a passing group of Shanshin soldiers, or whatever. I don't even know if they're Shanshin soldiers. And with these fancy new crossbows and Teslin helping, like, channel, which Matt has creatively solved the can't channel unless my life is in danger offensively problem, is just like, oh, you don't need to make any bombs, just cast a light.
Mm-hmm.
which does allow the crossbow guys to then see what they're aiming at. So this is a major massacre, and Matt is basically just like, yep, move on.
Yeah, and Jolene or whoever was like, but what about healing the wounded?
And Matt's like, no.
She's like, but those aren't the rules of warfare, Matt.
And he's like, new rules, bitch.
New rules, new me.
New rules, new me. Which again comes back to the idea that warfare is changing in this nation. We're definitely witnessing, I think, and this speaks, I think, a lot to Robert Jordan's personal experience as a Vietnam veteran. We're watching the world go from a very structured, sort of armies lining up and then charging at each other thing to a much more fluid and a much scarier form of warfare.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
Yeah, and there are no Geneva Conventions.
There are none.
It's a no man's land until someone nails those out, which hopefully they will.
Yeah, almost immediately.
Please, God.
Please, someone get... I don't know, who would it be at this point? Fucking Galad? He's the only one with a moral compass.
Galad's like, okay, wait a second.
Hold on now.
Hold the phone.
Hold on.
Earlier there was a little bubble of evil, or rather a ripple in the pattern where everyone felt like they were disintegrating. And we had something similar at the beginning of this book, so
yeah,
that's keep happening.
Horrible.
I think that's those 2 chapters.
Yeah, you did a really good job summarizing those.
Oh, thanks.
You're so smart and brave. Just like Frodo Baggins.
No one's as brave as Frodo Baggins, my beloved. Okay. Anything to add?
Nor.
Okay.
I'm sorry we do that so much, you guys.
I know,
we're annoying.
Obsessed with the Australian way of saying no.
Clear!
The condensation. Okay. Next time we will be with the Attack on Malden. We'll just be with Perrin and Fail for a little while.
Fucking finally.
Yeah, fucking finally. The metaphorical paper chain is on its last link.
Yeah. Fucking Christ.
Thanks all for listening. Thanks to Glenna McKenzie for our theme song and our patrons on Patreon. Do you have a sign off?
And our followers on social media.
And
Thank you
too.
I
knew I forgot one.
That's
followers
okay.
on social media.
Yeah, guys, the big bummer this week is that I'm gonna have to buy a new laptop pretty soon. I've had the same MacBook Air since I started college 10 years ago.
Yeah.
She has served me well, and she's hanging in there, but planned obsolescence is catching up to her real bad.
Yeah.
So RIP to me and the $4,000 or however expensive computers are now that I will have to spend.
Maybe you can get a rose gold one like mine.
Yeah, yours is very cool.
To match our lighter.
Yeah, we do have a rose gold lighter now.
These are all, cool. I don't choose rose gold.
Rose gold chooses you.
It does choose me.
You should get some rose gold hoopies when you can change your earrings.
The rose gold computer was the cheapest model that they had.
I get it.
So you might end up with that one. Okay, everyone. Have a good week.
Bye.
Bye.